Welcome to another one of our community updates. We try to keep you informed of what is happening in our community, and today I know that you will be pleased when you realize what we are actually doing with our neighborhood associations and now apartment associations. Some of you belong to neighborhood associations. We have over 70 in the city, and they've been very successful because we all recognize, and you recognize, that a mayor can only do so much, code compliance can only do so much, but through the efforts of two community liaisons that work in my office, one of them is a guest here today. His name is Nick Gonzalez. The other one is Peggy Hazlett. Some of you may have met her. They work closely with the community and closely with the neighborhood cluster associations. And we recognize that there are many calls for service from different parts of the city. And we have also realized that many of the calls for service were coming from those areas that have apartment complexes. So then the natural thing, of course, to do would be to organize the apartment association. And today we have two ladies that are very active in the apartment association. Actually, I'm really glad that this is happening now, because we have our neighborhood cluster associations, now we have our apartment associations. I have two guests here along with Mr. Nick Gonzalez. Some of you already have met. One of them is Chanel Johnson. Chanel Johnson is a co-president of the apartment association, and we have Delma Rios, the other co-chair of the apartment association. And I want them to share with you what the apartment association is, how many are in, who are the members, how many members do they have, what is their goal, what are they doing, and how you can help. So I'll start with the very first question that any one of you can answer. Chanel, Nick, Delma. Okay.
Well, I can go ahead.
You could go ahead. What is the apartment association, Chanel?
The apartment association is a network of owners and managers coming together and sharing information for a better quality of life in San Bernardino. And so currently our members range from small investors with just one property to the larger management companies managing hundreds of units.
Wow. Now, do the owners of these properties, do they live in the area? Do they live away, or?
It's a mixture. Some live in the area, surrounding areas, and others live more within the state, up north, down south, and some are out-of-state owners.
Okay. And then you contact all of them, so that's the network. Nick, what prompted us to start this association and creating this network?
You took half my line already on that. But it was exactly that. It was the open dialogues that we've had with the neighborhood associations, and many of the complaints, after they handled their own local issues, if you will, now they were focusing on the issues of the apartments surrounding their communities. And that, like you stated, took its natural course. It was, what do we do next? And we already had something on the books from the police department, the crime-free rental program, and it was an excellent enhancement of
crime-free rental program. What's that?
I won't take that thunder away from Jill Fonzie, but she'll answer that in our second segment for us and be more detailed on that. But it was an excellent marriage to bring it together, to add the component of the apartment association to all the associations in our city. And in fact, we just a little bit about the fact that yes, now we have the apartment association, we have the neighborhood association, and the business association. We're going to bring them together for a big dialogue so they can interact and do that network of exchanging information. And we're going to have a NAB
back
meeting.
to Chanel. Chanel, you're the co-president, co-chair of the apartment association.
Correct.
And you all established this network, and you have meetings and all. But you also manage an apartment complex.
Yes, I do. I'm also the manager of Dorgill Estates Phase 2 here in San Bernardino for the management company called Jamboree Management, which is out of Irvine.
I see. But you live here and you're a local.
Correct.
Okay, well, I want to thank you for what you do, but I'm going to switch to Delma. Delma Rios, you've got a big job too, being the co-chairman of this association, but You also, how many apartment complexes do you manage?
Well, the company that I represent, which is Steadfast Management, has a total of about 13 properties currently. 4 of those are in the San Bernardino County. One specifically is in the City of San Bernardino, located off of Guthrie. It used to be called Autumnwood, now called Sycamore Ridge. And when I first took over that property about a year ago, we came into about 79% occupancy, which was really bad for the area, and have now maintained at 97% for the last 6 months.
So a 90% occupancy is good.
Currently, yes.
Currently, yes. But how do you go about selecting your applicants or your tenants? And that's probably in the second segment of this, through the crime-free rental program, right? So how many members do you have in your apartment association?
Well, members, I guess
Currently, right now, we serve approximately about 120.
120.
Yes.
and growing.
And growing.
Yes.
And your members are, and Chanel, you said
Small investors
small investors.
to large management companies.
Okay. And you guys meet regularly, right?
Once a month.
Once a month.
The fourth Tuesday of each month, we actually meet at the San Bernardino Police Department training room,
Oh, I see.
located at 710 North D Street.
So you meet once a month on the, second Tuesday?
Fourth Tuesday.
Fourth Tuesday at the police department.
Correct.
Wow, do you have a large draw?
Yes, actually, a lot of our meetings, the majority of our meetings, it was the room was completely filled. The seats were taken.
Yeah.
So pretty much we've had like 80, 82, 85 members
Okay.
attend the trainings, which are very good because it's providing the information that we need in the industry, and it's keeping us up to date.
What kind of information?
We have guest speakers, so we may have attorneys, the Housing Authority, Fair Housing has also been guest speakers. We've also brought in educational, informational trainings from like Aggie. In the future, we'll,
Aggie, what's Aggie?
the Inland Empire Apartment Association. And our future will bring in IREM, which is the Institute of Real Estate Management. And I'm also basically an area representative manager with IREM, so I'm the chairperson for that,
Okay.
which is a
That's good.
good tool for educational resources for managers and owners.
That's great. So what kinds of things have you learned from these speakers?
I think that they've come in not only to educate, but to motivate, and basically to network with each other, to show the small landlords that they can also make a difference by being selective of the people that they rent their properties to. It's not necessarily where before they would rent to basically anyone that could afford to live there. Now they have, through the network, learned that there are tools that they can use, such as credit checks, criminal background searches, that kind of thing, doing landlord verifications of where they've lived in the past, so that they could see if this is the type of person they want living in their community or in their property.
Okay, so you are being more selective of who your tenants are.
Correct.
And that certainly reduces the calls for service from the police department.
Definitely.
And I'm going to ask you the obvious question. I think you've already answered it. Nick answered it. Chanel, you did. Delma, you did. The overall purpose of the organization. Who wants to respond to that?
I guess I would say the long-term goal is to help beautify our city,
There
to
you
help
go.
rejuvenate it,
Yes.
and definitely to bring in new business. So
Yeah.
hopefully with all of us coming together, we can make a difference.
And that's what the networking has provided. They've provided resources of information of what is in fact available to the community. And the bigger companies have taken on the task of taking them in as a big brother, if you will.
Correct.
And we have many success stories already from those little owners who didn't know that they had all this assistance is available to them.
Okay, give me one success story, or share one, somebody.
We had a lady that came into one of our meetings. I guess she attended 2 or 3 of our meetings, and she's a small complex owner, 3 units, and wasn't aware that she could ask people to run their credit report or to run a criminal background. So she was really thankful that, now she can do that. And with us helping her, we are now doing the credit checks for her and the criminal checks for her. So now she could take the time and have a resident stay long-term, 1 to 2, 3, 4, maybe even 5 years, as opposed to having 6 months and then having to go through the eviction process. Now she actually feels that she has the power, as to where before she kind of felt powerless.
Well, that's very helpful.
Correct.
So the attorneys help you with information, legal information on
Yes.
evictions?
Forms also.
Yes, well, that is really great. Is there anything that I've left off that you all would have liked me to have asked? Because there's so much.
Well, pretty much a statement. You know, our mission is that we're here to help preserve and enhance a better quality of life here in San Bernardino, the city itself,
Good.
and the county surrounding areas.
Right.
And
Talking
so
about
by
the
doing
county,
our parts.
some of your apartments are in county pockets, aren't they?
Correct.
Is there a problem sometimes with county pockets?
I think with some of the problems that we've run into is having somebody respond to the issues or to the problems. It's a little difficult sometimes to get the county to be cooperative
Okay.
with what we are trying to do.
All right, but we're working on that one. I want everyone to know
Definitely.
that. Let me ask you another question, which is maybe an obvious one also. If for example, in your apartment complex, you have a tenant that's really giving you a lot of problems, and you go and you evict him. But then your tenant goes to one of yours. Do you guys network on stay away from this guy?
Well, that and also that's why we're doing the landlord verifications.
Oh,
So we
okay.
verify when they fill out the application, it specifically asks where they've lived in the last 2 years.
I see.
So we will call that landlord and ask a series of questions as far as what type of person that was, and did they pay their rent on time? Did they give a 30-day notice when they moved out? Would you re-rent to them again? That's the important question.
Okay.
So there is a form that it actually can be faxed to a manager's office that has that type of questioning on it. And basically it's fair and it's equal, because you have to make sure at the same time that you're not discriminating against
Correct.
anyone or violating anybody's rights.
Okay.
So there are fair questions that you can ask, you know, was the rent paid on time? So with that rental verification of their history, through that, it gives the other manager an opportunity to just, you know, in their process, because they have criterias. And if you're using a scoring system or something else that says, do they meet
Good.
all these criterias, excuse me, or the majority of them, whatever your system is that you're using based on those criterias, it lets you know whether or not that you're going to rent possibly to that potential prospective tenant.
Well, I want you both, co-chairs of the Apartment Association, I want to thank you on behalf of all the residents of the City of San Bernardino for the job that you're doing and for monitoring the clientele that you are serving in your apartment complexes. It's very important, and I want you to know how much the city certainly appreciates your efforts. And we will continue to work with the county to bring forth some cooperation so that we can apply our rules to the county pockets, certainly assist you and assist the residents and the children that live in your apartment complexes. We're going to take a little break, and then we're going to switch, and we'll have some more guests, but we're still talking about the same thing, your neighborhood associations and your apartment associations, which is new to San Bernardino, and we're going to set the model for other counties and cities. I know we are.
Right.
Thank you, Thelma.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chanel.
Thank you.